Good morning, everybody. Welcome back from Someone Scott Selections here for Thursday, February 10th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. Really not much to recap as we had Team USA -2.5 and hockey at -115 on FanDuel. And that matchup has not happened yet, taking place at around 8 a.m. So a couple hours to go there. Line has moved to around -140. So we did beat about a 25-cent line move. Hopefully it cashes, but not much to recap because it hasn't happened yet. So looking at the play of the day, here for Thursday, we're going to go back to the NBA, looking at a matchup between the Raptors and the Rockets taking place at around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And for the play of the day, we're going to take the Raptors -6.5 at -110 on DraftKings. Time recording of 1:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like Toronto in the spot. First of all, the Raptors have been rolling lately. They've won each of their last 7 games. Meanwhile, Houston is once again in freefall. The Rockets have lost 7 of their last 8 games, and 6 of those 7 losses have been by at least 13 points. So they're not even close in the majority of the games that they've been playing in. And I think this game should get ugly if Toronto shows up at even 80%. I think that Toronto's a much better team, and they should probably coast to a nice double-digit win. But to go through the efficiency numbers, these teams are not close, as expected. Toronto ranks 14th in offensive efficiency. Houston ranks 27th. Toronto ranks tied for 15th in defensive efficiency. Houston ranks dead last in 30th. Toronto ranks tied for 14th in rebounding rate. Houston ranks tied for 22nd, and Toronto's better in every area. There's really not much more to add there. They have the better coach, they have the better roster. They are just playing really well right now, and Toronto has been one of the most underrated teams in the league for the last month and change, and 6.5 against Houston is way too low. They should be favored probably by closer to, in my opinion, 8.5 or 9. But to go through another underrated factor for this matchup, as we know for Thursday, February 10th, it is the NBA trade deadline, which means you will have a lot of teams trying to dump veteran players if they are not in contention. And Houston is a prime candidate for that because I think we can all agree Eric Gordon probably has a 90+% chance of being traded. Houston, we know, is going to be terrible. They're not competing for anything. They got a lot of young guys on the roster that they want to give minutes to. Eric Gordon doesn't fit that mold. He'll probably be shipped off. He's been rumored to go to a couple of different teams, so I expect him not to be there. Houston might trade other pieces as well. I think Christian Wood might be a dark horse candidate to be traded. But the point is, Houston's going to be a huge seller at the deadline, and I do think that as a result, Houston will be even more shorthanded in this game than people suspect, while Toronto might pick up a piece or two, maybe, for a playoff run, but it seems like their roster is pretty much set in stone. So for all things being considered, Toronto's in much better form. They're better at offense, defense, and rebounding. Houston has been getting killed for pretty much the last 2 weeks, and I expect Houston to trade a couple of people at the trade deadline. They should be shorthanded. As a result, Toronto probably closer to 8.5. I think maybe you can make an argument Toronto resting guys, but they cruised past OKC yesterday, so they didn't really need to use the starters that much. Plus, Toronto hasn't rested anybody even during the massive 5 games and 7 night stretch. So I expect Toronto to cruise, and I think this line's too low. So play that once again here for Thursday. February 10th is going to be on the Raptors, -6.5 at -110 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.